Hi, y'all tired of cooking with Jerry? I'm whipping up something here. It's my own creation. We'll see how this comes out. I got this packaged cream of mushroom soup mix. Well, I got a box of 6 of these, but I had this in the cupboard too. So I figured I'd make 3. That's why I had a big pot. I have extra chopped up mushrooms here, put in it. And then I got some ground meat that left over from the chili I made last night in my multi-cooker. So I'm gonna make up the cream of mushroom. I'm gonna dump the meat in here, and I'm gonna throw in the mushrooms, let that cook for a few minutes. And then I got some good Italian pasta here. This stuff swells up big, and I'm gonna put that in there. So I guess I'm gonna make a cream of mushroom pasta dish. Let's see how that comes out. I mean, what have I got to lose? The worst that could happen, I throw it out, right? But I can guarantee you I won't. I fried up some garlic and onion. I'm letting it cool down in here because when you make this, you want to use cold water because it's got a lot of what do they call that? Cornstarch in there, and I want to be able to mix it up and get it nice and cool or nice and smooth. And you do that with cool water, so I'm letting it cool down. All right, yeah, my pan's just about cool now. I'll throw just a little bit of water in there to cool it down. All right, next step. Let's see what it looks like. I threw a liter of water in there. It says 3 liters. It says 1 liter per package, but I think I want to do 2 liters. We'll see how that comes out. So that was cold water. And I'm just going to throw this in here, and I got my little whisk. Start whisking it. I'd probably use my immersion blender. Truth be not told, but I don't want to string it all the way across the kitchen here. All right, trying to find a little rip open notch here. Actually, this is looking pretty good now. Just dumping it in here, but I will whisk it. You probably can't even hardly hear me. I don't have my microphone on, so try and adjust the volume in editing. So, 3 packages of this. Let's see how much it sucks out of the moisture. And each one of these look a little different. The UFC looked kind of white. This Knorr looks kind of yellow. So I don't know. It'll all mix up together. You'll never know the difference. I might put a secret ingredient in here too, so start whisking it up. Like I say, what have I got to lose? The worst that could happen is it tastes like crap and I throw it out, right? You'll never know. I mean, hell, it could be the latest, greatest thing, you know? And I want leftovers, so I always make extra. I have confidence. It's my optimism here. I'm thinking this will probably come out pretty good. So let me add 1 more liter of water in here. I'll get this turned on. Once I get this up to boil, then I'll throw the mushrooms and the ground meat in there, the cooked meat. Just as a disclaimer, that's taco meat because I made it up taco meat to make my chili. Oh man, my chili was awesome. I really love this multi-cooker. And I could probably do this in the multi-cooker, but for the first time I want to try it on a pan. So, all right, let me get this up to boil. I'm going to throw another liter of water in there because I'm going to need, and I have like almost empty bag of this pasta and a full bag here. Get that at S&R. That's the Costco of the Philippines. It's a lot bigger than your normal elbow macaroni, but hey, it's chewy. I make my my homemade beefy macaroni and cheese with that pasta. Everybody that's tasted it says, "Wow, that's awesome pasta." Yeah, I mean, it's different stuff. Okay, let me get this. Quit rambling. Alright, so this has been boiling for about 5 minutes. I added another half a liter of water. But this is actually looking pretty good. I'm going to use my spoon here. Doesn't look like it's all that runny, but it always does come down to being runny. That's why I'm adding the pasta in here. That's why I was only using 2 liters of water, where the instructions say use 1 liter per package, so that would have been 3 liters. So I add my mushrooms. I'm debating on whether to use all of these. I can use these for other things later. I plan on making spaghetti again, so these mushrooms can go in there for that, for my spaghetti. I just wanted a little bit more mushrooms. There's like dried mushrooms in here. Yeah, maybe I will use the whole thing. I got more cans of mushrooms. Let's just throw all of it in. Everybody in the pool. There's a whole can right there of mushroom stems and pieces. I chop them up into finer pieces. Throwing that in there cools it down so it stops boiling. I've got this thing down on the low setting anyway. Alright, so let me throw some meat in there. I haven't decided how much meat I want to put in there, but hey, my hands are clean. Well, do this. Besides, I'm going to cook up anyway. I want enough here for some tacos, but let's see how meaty this is. Right here, that's about a half a kilo of meat right there. Because I used a half a kilo of ground beef and a half a kilo of ground pork when I cooked up my meat for my chili. Yeah, everybody in the pool. Come on. We can cook up more. This is supposed to be a complete meal anyway, so. Alright. Leave the sink. There we go. Cook up, stir all this up and we'll see how much is in there. Oh yeah, that's not too much. Barely see a little bit of meat in there. Like I said, I want this to be a complete meal, so that's why the extra mushrooms, that's why the meat, and then the pasta. Let me get this back up to boiling again, because that's cold meat. I took it out of the fridge. The mushrooms are room temperature, so it'll take a minute to get this back up. And like I said, I've got this down on low setting. I don't want to scorch the bottom any more than the stainless steel pan will anyway. Once it gets up to boil, I'll throw some pasta in there. We'll try and judge how much pasta, because I want this thick and hearty. I don't want it to be too runny, so we'll see how it comes out. Let me get it up to boiling again. Alright, just now coming back up to boil now. Let this get into a pretty decent boil. I've been gradually turning my heat up here. It's got to boil pretty good, because when you throw that pasta in there, it's going to stop boiling again. So, yeah. So just about all the way. This is my small burner too. I could have used my big burner over here. It probably would have done better on the boiling, but it is what it is. I just tasted that. It tastes pretty doggone good. Got a little bit of scorching going on the bottom here. So I'm using my metal spoon. Hey, it's stainless, I can do that. So, you know, the chef always has to taste his meal, see how it comes out. I'd like to cook those mushrooms down just a little bit more. So I'll keep stirring this. I'll be back when the pasta goes in. Alright, so I did change my mind. I did put it on the bigger burner. You can see it's boiling pretty good now. So I'm just going to have to guess on the pasta, because there's no recipe here. Get this other bag open. I'm kind of guessing on this. It's going to cook for 13 minutes, I believe, maybe 14. You see how that stirs in? No, I gotta leave a little bit more pasta. More pasta, Jerry. More to eat. I'll stir that in, then I'm going to cover it. Oh, we could put a lot more pasta in there. I'm just going by eyeball here. There's no recipe for this. I'm inventing my recipe here. We'll leave it at that. If it's a little bit soupy, not a problem. It'll eventually cook down. Oh yeah, I still need more pasta. Did I mention that this ojima pasta, I would really like this? I'll show you how big this gets when it cooks down. Yeah, see, it's boiling pretty good now, so I can turn this down just a little bit here. I don't want to scorch everything in the pan. All right, let me cover it and see what it looks like in 13 minutes here. I think that's about right. It's starting to fill up the pan pretty good. It's still, you know, I mean, it's still pretty watery. It's still soupy. So let's see what it looks like here in about 13 minutes. Okay, so I want 14 minutes. Let's see how this looks. Pretty thick. I did add about 300 milliliters of water. I could have used a half a liter, but I didn't want it too runny. But it's a little thick here. But you see how big these pasta noodles got too. They're huge and they're meaty. They're nice and thick. So you see how this tastes. Now I sampled the soup part of it with my spoon. But yeah, this is looks like a nice thick meal. Put this back on. Just keep the heat in there. All right, to the table. Let's see if it tastes any good. Okay, let's see if this makes a meal. You know, don't be afraid to experiment. You might actually come up with something that tastes good. Okay, I love cream of mushroom soup, and I always like to have a little meat with my meals, and I'm a pasta lover, so, you know, this works for me. It may not work for everybody. It's still hot. All right. I'm going to call that a win. Man, I might have 2 bowls of this. All right, guys. Thanks for cooking with Jerry.